Friends, today I am going to cover one of the most important tool among the 7 QC tools called the check sheet. Check sheet is also called as the golden tool for permanent solution to ongoing problems, be it in quality of business or in personal life. The content here is prepared in such a way that it will help those who are writing global examinations like American Society for Quality Exams, or those who want to attend interviews for quality positions, or those who want to solve quality problems, business problems or personal problems permanently in the easiest way. Also, I will cover 8 amazing facts on check sheet which will help you to easily understand and solve your problems and not covered in many of the textbooks. Hi, this is Jagdish Kumar from Area Excellence Academy doing this very important and practically useful presentation to you covering the secrets of a check sheet and its utility. As we discussed from the 7 QC tools which we covered in my earlier presentation, I will leave the link in the description for those who could not see that presentation, or if you go to my playlist after subscription, easily you can locate this and go through the very practical and simple presentation I did on 7 QC tools. Today I am going to cover the golden tool called as a check sheet. Now, to understand the check sheet, please look at this very simple table. There are 7 days in a week. They have listed 7 days and 5 problems were happening in the marketing department. So this is the check sheet for a marketing department. Now, as one defect occurred, one line is drawn. Means to say here, if you see, first event, second, third, fourth, fifth event is marked by a cross. Means I am having a block of 5 numbers. How easy it is to count now? 5 plus 5, 10, 15, 22. That means 22 problems occurred here. So if you observe this collection of defects as the events occurred over 7 days, you find on Wednesday maximum defects occurred, also on Saturday. Now, interestingly, they found hurry was the reason for these defects being more on these 2 days, because no transport arrangement was done by the company after the duty hours on these 2 days for the marketing people. Now, they found the root cause. They provided the drop facility for the marketing people on Wednesday and Saturday also, as they were doing on other days, and there was no hurry, and the mistakes came down drastically, thereby benefiting the company. Also, interestingly, if you have to solve category wise the problem, you know the maximum problem is shipping damage. You improve the packing by simple actions, and wrong orders. You avoid haste while entering the order category, say in your resource planning system. So, check sheet, as we understand now from the example, is a tool for gathering the data over a period of 4 times, here 7 days, listing and tabulating them category wise, 5 problems tabulated vertically, and the defects are captured as they were. The purpose of this check sheet is to plan and compile the data easily. Keep simple things simple, make a simple table, capture the data as they occur. Now you have the practical situation in front of you, which will help you to analyze the problem in very simple way and provide permanent solution. So final takeaway from check sheet is that you are able to provide a permanent solution to the problem so that it does not reoccur at all in the future. Now let us understand there are 5 steps to create a check sheet. First step to follow is brainstorm. Again, I covered the brainstorming in very simple practical way in my earlier presentation. Those who are interested can get into my playlist, see this presentation, or I'll give the link in my description for a quick look. You have to sit in a group physically and say in 6 to 12 numbers and answer these questions, 5W and 2H. 5W stand for what is the problem, where the problem is occurring, why the problem is occurring, when the problem is occurring, who is the person causing the problem, maybe due to lack of training, say, how the problem is to be solved, and how much effort to be put to solve the problem. To keep simple things simple, you find simplest solution so that you save resources and also you save time, and the solution is simple to implement. Second step to follow is identify the problem. We know a problem well defined is problem half solved. Identify the types of defects which are haunting us. Identify the causes of defects if need to be tabulated. Find out location of defect. This is important, which I will explain in my future examples. Identify whether the process is capable to deliver your product or not. I had a practical situation where the machine had a tolerance of plus or minus 20 microns. The product required a tolerance of plus or minus 10 micron. You can see product tolerance is much tighter than the machine tolerance. How can I make the product from this machine? The machine was not suitable was my declaration, and we went for a tighter machine to solve the problem permanently. You can visualize this great benefit of check sheet. Then select the type of check sheet from 5 types, which I am covering in the next slide, and you design the format suitable to you. As I showed, marketing department decided to cover the problems over 7 days, 5 types of problems. As the events occurred, they tabulated and then took the decision to focus on their improvement actions. While designing the format, please remember you should be able to capture all the required data, because redoing data collection is a laborious and a painful process, and also you have to ensure that you collect the required data only in the required quantity. Means to say, keep simple things simple as you design the format to collect the data. Now in step number 4, you analyze the collected data to come out with the permanent solution, as I mentioned in the 5th step, because you need corrective action, a permanent solution, so that problem does not reoccur at all. Now, having known the 5 steps, what are the 5 types of check sheet? The first type is process check. Process is the cause for a good product or a bad product. Also, you know, the permanent improvement in any manufacturing or any service lies in improving the process. There could be changes in the process like tool getting worn out and so on, which can be easily recognized by collecting the defects as the events occur through a check sheet called as process checklist. The second type is defect check sheet. Means to say, what are the number of defects occurring for a type of defect you have chosen. Say for dimension out of tolerance, how many types of defects are occurring. Maximum number of defects means that is the top priority for you to solve, because higher the pain, higher the gain. Whether the defect is occurring due to high resistance, physical dimension, or any error in building and so on. The third type is a defect location check, where you identify the location where the defect is occurring more and apply corrective action only there, so that you are not wasting your resources improving the situation in other areas. Fourth type is defective cause check. For example, we have those parameters called as key characteristics where you cannot have any deviation at all. If any deviation is happening here, you should analyze the root cause and solve them permanently. For example, defectives may be occurring due to raw materials, due to manufacturing process being bad, due to handling of item being bad during transport, and so on. So these can be tabulated and compiled using defective cause check sheet. Next check sheet, which is common to all the 4 types, because all the 4 types are used before solving the problem. After gathering the data, you have now understood the root cause and drawn up the corrective action and implemented. Now you need to demonstrate that you have created significant improvement, and that check sheet you use is called as confirmation check sheet, which is done post improvement, and here you should demonstrate significant reduction in the defect 0. Having known 5 types of check sheets, now we will move forward with examples to understand them. We talked about defect check sheet. Here is a live example. A company manufacturing 3 TV models 1013, 1017, 1018. When they tabulated the defects as they were happening for these categories of defect, they found commonly these were happening in all the 3 models, namely the failure of the capacitors. They went for improving the reliability or going for a better capacitor which can withstand the voltage fluctuation. Thereby they improved the performance in all the 3 models. Also interestingly, they found in one model 1017, one more failure I would say was maximum, that is command from the remote through infrared signal not reaching the TV properly, and TV is not obeying the remote command. They solved it by improving the sensor circuit. Only for this model, if they had attempted improvement in other 2 models, they would have wasted their enormous resource, as you can see, and it solved the problem for 1017. Now you see why this is a golden tool. It helps you to identify your crisis. It also helps you to pinpointedly know where you need to improve and put your resources. Please remember, resources are very scarce and resources have to be put into high pain areas, because higher the pain, higher the gain once you solve. Defect location check sheet I talked about. Here is an example in a garment factory. They took a sample of the shirt. They started marking these defects where they were occurring, and as the defects were occurring, as I told, 4 defects, 5th by a cross. Now here you can say 5 plus 5, 10 plus 1, 11 defects occurred in total in these categories. As you can see from the model of the shirt, squares are here under arm of the right hand side, showing that tearing of the cloth was happening during stitching more on the underarm stitching side, and they solved only here by reducing the tension during stitching, because reduced tension would affect the look on the shirt. So local solution was applied without impacting other areas, thereby benefiting the maximum for the company and arriving at a permanent solution and a quicker solution. Process check sheet is one more check sheet. Everywhere we have process, and here the process is to make say 38 samples, a rod of 5.2 mm length with a tolerance of plus or minus 0.03 mm. Means to say, maximum the length can be 5.23 mm, minimum the length should be 5.17 mm. Less than that it is a rejection, more than 5.23 is a rejection. But maximum number of pieces should also be reading 5.2 mm when means to say, here the peak we call here number of occurrence is more, means it is the peak. Peak should be aligning with the target, that is 5.2 mm. So this process is good because the peak is aligning with the target, maximum occurrence is on the target. But as we see, the variations are happening but within the tolerance. The width is more, variation is slightly more, which can be reduced if you want to improve. In other words, we understand that in a process, the output should be centered. This is called centering of the process. Maybe length we measure and so on. The variation should be minimum. Maybe compared to this, a output which would have shown like this would be much better than what it is, avoiding these extreme variations. Same thing is shown here. You can join them by a smooth curve. Then it represents a curve called with normal curve, because it is normal to occur for a normal process like manufacturing a rod of 5.2 mm, or in a classroom, say I have 20 students, I capture the heights of all of them and plot in an Excel sheet. I get a curve, bell curve or a normal curve. So every natural event should follow a bell curve. If it does not fall, that means something unnatural that has happened in the process. Second, the maximum peak of the bell should be aligning with my target value 5.2 mm. Also, the variation should be as less as possible, not spread like this. If the variation is less, the chances of rejection on the upper specification side and lower specification side would be 0 or minimum, and that is why the in-process improvement, which is the permanent improvement, 2 golden rules are told: center the process, reduce the variation. This is where this good understanding of the process is possible from the process checker sheet. Now, having understood some good example, we will come to uses of check sheet. The first use, as we understood, to know the shape of the probability distribution. It's a high sounding word, but it is very simple. Shape of the normal curve, as we understood there. The peak of the normal curve should be aligned with the target. The variation should be minimum on the extreme sides of the specifications, and the normal curve should be symmetric, not abnormal like this or like this. So this is understood. To quantify defects by type, whether dimension related problems are more, resistance or electrical related problems are more, or physical damages like cracks and hardness are more. If you know, higher the problem, higher the priority to solve them, so that you get a maximum benefit by utilizing your scarce resource to get the benefit for the organization to solve the quality problems permanently or business problems permanently, because every defect costs a lot of money. To quantify defects by location, as I gave the example of shirt, I can give one more example of car paint scratch happening while during the transport of the car from the manufacturing location to the distribution location, say from say Noida to Bangalore. During the transport in one model, the scratch was happening more on the bonnet or the hood side of the car. They gave additional bubble sheet cover on the hood side, thereby the scratches were avoided as the car got transported. They had no extra wastage of resources in improving the packing and the entire car body. The delay, the lost material, the time consumed, everything is eliminated by getting into a check sheet mode, identifying the exact location of problem and giving the improvement action only there. This is called as localization. To quantify the defects by cause, whether it is raw material related problem which is maximum, or interestingly, suppose I have 3 suppliers. Which supplier is giving me very good product, which supplier is giving me bad product. I can give more orders to the good performing supplier and warn or handhold the supplier who is not performing well, so that everybody is improved. Local improvement again is possible instead of looking for a universal solution which will be very expensive and not so effective. The last point is very important in users to identify critical problems which is most painful to me, solve that by prioritizing and develop permanent corrective action so that the problem does not reoccur at all, be it my business problem or my quality problem. Thank you for watching this presentation. For those who have not subscribed, I once again appeal to subscribe to my channel. Please don't hesitate to share this with those who may benefit from this. Please write your comment and like the presentation if you have liked it. Thank you so much.